Hey, it's Jane and Stephanie from the Nourishing Gurus, and we help women over 50 eat healthy for good so you can lose weight, ease inflammation, and feel energized well into our second half. Now, the benefits of eating a whole foods diet and upping your nutrition after 50 are indisputable. But one complaint we often hear is that it takes too much time and effort to put a healthy meal together. So we totally get that. We have aging parents that need our attention, the constant influx of emails and unending demands from our family and managing a household and maybe a business or helping grandkids, or just wanting more time to yourself to do the things you enjoy. And we, like you, we're always running around, running our business, helping our parents and kids, etc. But we're always on the hunt for tricks and what we call hacks that make eating healthy more doable. So, what happens is so many of the women that we work with think that eating healthy means spending excess time in the kitchen and doing complicated recipes. But what we have found is that when you incorporate these hacks into your day that we're going to share, it makes healthy eating so much easier. And that's what we're all about. So instead of relying on willpower, it just really doesn't work. Set up your environment for success. So, whether you're a newbie to eating healthy or you know what to do but just have struggled in the past, these 5 tricks are for you. Now, before we go on, be sure to like and subscribe and click the bell to be notified when we post a new video because we're going to be coming out with even more awesome content soon.
So let's dive into our first kitchen hack, which is to think green. Before we get into the hack, I just want to give a shout out to why greens are so amazing, especially for women over 50. They are incredible for our heart, our brain, our bones. They have a neuroprotective role, so they're really good for memory. They also include lots of vitamins and minerals like calcium and magnesium and potassium and vitamin K and beta carotene and folate and fiber. So they're very anti-inflammatory, great for reducing blood pressure, great for heart health. And they contain 2 really powerful antioxidants, which reduce the risk of macular degeneration and cataracts. So who wouldn't want that? Okay, so in terms of the hack, you can go into any supermarket and buy those pre-washed, triple wash greens. So greens are amazing because you can add them to anything, any dishes, and they just sort of melt into the dish. They don't have a really strong flavor, so you can stir them in and within a minute or two, they've just sort of dissolved into the dish, but they add all those great benefits that I just talked about. So we will add them to things like chili, into a soup recipe. Even if it doesn't call for greens, you can just toss them in, stir fries. They're great in eggs, so I'll scramble eggs and toss some greens into them. Of course, smoothies, which we're going to get to in a minute in another hack. So don't neglect your greens. Get them pre-washed and use them for much more than salads. Again, just toss them into any dish you can think of, and you will immediately upgrade your nutrition.
Oh, yeah, of course, we love our greens, right? Now let's move on to hack number 2. Put things in plain sight that you want to eat. So, for example, when you open the fridge, if you have some cut up celery and carrots, your chances are you're going to grab that first, right? And another little tip is when you cut up carrots and celery, keep them in cold water and they will stay nice and crunchy. But think about it. You are what you eat and you eat what you see, right? So when you see something, the first thing you see is what you're going to grab. So put things up front that you want to eat and make it harder to eat the things that you don't want to eat. So if something's a little junkier or you don't want to grab at it, hide it behind other things in the fridge. Make yourself do some work at least to get it. And ask other household members not to leave things out like chips and cookies and things like that. Because again, once you see it, you're going to grab at it. So just set up your kitchen in a way that makes it easier to grab healthy things and harder to grab the unhealthy things. Make sense?
So let's move on to our third kitchen hack, which is really fun, and it's to use ice cube trays for more than making plain ice. So the reason we love this hack is because not only does it save on food waste, but you can then put the extra food into a form that you can preserve for later, pop out your cubes, and then use it really simply in other dishes. So a few things that we use ice cube trays for are like tomato paste. So you can then pop it out and add it to your tomato sauce. We've used it for avocado because the avocados left over go bad pretty quickly. So you can then freeze that and pop them out and put them in a smoothie or defrost them and puree them into like a dip with some yogurt and lemon juice and garlic. We have put herbs in ice cube trays because herbs, fresh herbs, can also go bad pretty quickly. So if you see them starting to turn, you can put them in a tray with a pinch of oil and a little bit of water, and then you can pop them out and use them in pestos or soups or stir fries. And that's really fun. You can freeze leftover vegetable broth or chicken broth and use that in soups. And I also personally love using coconut milk in ice cubes because I'll put them in smoothies. And then I'll share the second way that I use coconut milk in cubes in our fifth and final hack. So stay tuned for that. Basically, you don't want to neglect your ice cube trays. You want to put them to good use with lots of other things. Another tip is to add 1 tablespoon to each cube so you know how much you're using. So for instance, when I do the coconut milk, I'll add a tablespoon of milk to each cube. And so I know that each cube is a tablespoon. And so if I'm looking to add a 1/4 cup to something, that's 4 ice cubes. So not all things like avocado or tomato paste necessarily will need you to have it measured that way, but it just is sort of handy when you know you're popping them out and you know exactly how much you're using.
I love that tip. And since they recently came out with those ice cube trays with the cover on it, I have a bunch of them and you can keep so many things in the fridge, and we'll put a link below to these trays so that make it so much easier to store food in. All right, moving on. Hack number 4. Take advantage of your smoothies. All right, we talk a lot about smoothies, and if you are a smoothie fan, this is for you. If you're not a smoothie fan, you might want to consider it. But what I do in my smoothies is I add some of my supplements in every morning because sometimes it's hard to remember to take pills, but I get a lot of my supplements in powder form and I just throw them into my smoothies. Things like, and everybody's individual with their supplements, what they need, but I can add in things like magnesium and fiber powder and vitamin C. I just throw it into my smoothie and then I know I get my dose for the day. And again, with food, not just greens, but you can add other things to the smoothie to make it super healthy. Think outside the spinach box, right? And don't worry just about greens. Think about things like zucchini or arugula. And then also white beans. White beans are a great addition to a smoothie because they give you the fiber, they give you some protein, and they're really filling. And then you can also add things like beets, wonderful in smoothies. Spices, that's you can get your spices in. We got to do a separate video about the health benefits, but so many spices have benefits to them. I also add ginger in because ginger, great for pain management, great for digestion, great for immune. So what I do is I scrape up a ginger, I peel it, and I cut it in pieces, and then I keep it in a freezer bag. So then I just can pop it out and put it in my smoothie. So there you have it. Hack number 4, take advantage of your smoothies.
Thank you, Stephanie. Stephanie is our resident smoothie queen. So those are awesome suggestions. All right, you guys ready for our fifth and final kitchen hack to help you eat healthier is to have 3 or 4 simple sauce recipes that are going to enhance the flavor of any dish that you can put together in 5 minutes or less. So these are things you can just brush on chicken or fish or vegetables and have an easy go-to meal. I have my own 4 that I depend on at least once or twice a week. So the combos that I use are number 1, a healthy mayonnaise and mustard 1-to-1 combo. Mix them together, brush them onto chicken or fish. My second one is toasted sesame oil and tamari or coconut aminos. And that I will use all the time, either brushed onto, like I said, chicken or fish, or I might put the combo in a ground chicken or turkey to make like a patty, or I often use them in use that combination in stir fries, just those 2 ingredients. You could always enhance it with like scallions and of course salt and pepper. My coconut milk, I use that plus curry powder to make a super creamy stir fry or veggie dish. And that combination alone is amazing and so simple. And finally, I love combining olive oil and balsamic vinegar and sometimes a little bit of basil. And again, brush it on fish, chicken, tofu, pop it in the oven, and it's done. And so flavorful, it tastes like a fancy dish. So if you have healthy ingredients on hand, you have a good avocado oil-based mayonnaise, a good Dijon mustard, use toasted sesame oil, a wheat-free tamari, organic. These things you can just stock always in your cabinets and put together such a simple, flavorful meal really easily and quickly. That's the key. So there you have it, our wrap up of our 5 healthy hacks. We hope you've gotten a lot out of this and gotten some great ideas to take home with you. And we just want to mention that setting up your environment for success is a really big part of what we do in our 3-month Simply Nourished Solutions program. And what's really cool about this program is that we address absolutely everything from the ground up. So not only what to eat, but also how to do it in a sustainable way. So women get regular access to us, tons of hand-holding, lots of accountability, and a way forward that really teaches them how to stop the dieting cycle and lose weight and keep it off in a healthier and happier and really realistic way, because we're all about doing this for the long term. If you want to know more about this program, reach out to us using the link in the description below. And as always, be sure to like and subscribe and click the bell to be notified of future content so we know you want to hear more. And please check out our other videos for even more support managing weight and health after 50.